Yung mga televiewers ko, ito na naman po ako. Meron naman po ako i-share sa inyo isang magaling na breeder din, the legend. Ito po siya. The Modern Breeding of Game Fowl by Narragansett, 1982. Si Mr. Frank Shy. Ito po siya. Siya po si Mr. Frank Shy. Hawak niyo yung kanyang Narragansett. Okay. Basahin ko lang. Part 1. Here I am with stag which won top weight 5 to 6 in 1975 Claymore tournament where he and his brothers went 9 out of 0. In this same 1974 event, they were 7 out of 0. It was their 11th win at this classic. I use and breed only the one family of fowl, the Narragansett. They all look like this fellow. I retired from active competition after the 1975 season at age 80. Forward. Breeding game cocks for battle is an individual effort. The extent of your success is dependent upon your own capacity to recognize and procure the individual possessing the characteristic you desire, and upon your skill is determining what is and what is not essential. The breeding system advocated here is based upon the repeated and consistent uniting of this essential characteristic in your brood fowl, whether the individuals possessing them are related genetically or not. The establishment or fixing of such characteristics is accomplished by repeated infusion of those characteristics without concern for genealogical purity or so-called breed names. All which follows is merely an expansion and development of those principles. Throughout the following pages, you will find the pronoun used frequently. It is strictly a style of writing, an informal conversation style. As if we were talking together, which make for easier reading and clearer understanding. Definitely is not know-it-all attitude or any desire to pose as an authority. Rather it represents an honest expression of opinion based upon my own experiences. Narragansett. Chapter 1. The transmission of hereditary characteristic is beyond the comprehension of mankind. Our greatest scientists have identified, classified, named, and theorized upon the numerous factors involved, yet have never been able to create a living organism or to predict with certainty what the various elements in combination would produce. Accordingly, it is no wonder that the most scientific practices result in failure, whereas an obscure and improbable combination occasionally produces phenomenal results. As example of this latter, there comes to mind letter A, the Berg blue maps which first were produced by a 16-year-old boy from a wild combination of game fowl. Letter B, the world champion harness horse Peter Manning, which was sired by an obscure young stallion mated to a lopsided mare, which Warren Wright hitched to this wagon while delivering his yeast cakes. Letter C, the Thomas Murphy family of Abraham fowl, which resulted from a stolen nest mating of an unknown cock, and a stray hen which hatched and raised her brood of chicks upon the grounds of Mr. Murphy neighbor Abraham Strauss, hence the name Abraham. These are but a few examples No doubt you can enumerate many more. They are what I call lottery ticket meetings. You buy a lottery ticket for 50 cents and win $1,000 occasionally, but it can be done and has been done. It is the breeding practice followed by most cockers. Once in a great while they hit the jackpot, but 99% of the time they have to tear up the ticket and buy another one. From this example, you should recognize that there is no surefire formula for producing 100% winners. The most we can hope to do is to present a breeding system which on average will improve your chances of rising above 50% level. To what extent you exceed such level depends upon your personal qualification of observation, selectivity, and perseverance, remembering always that there are 100 requirements for winning a cockfight and 1,000 ways to lose one. Breeding is only one of the many factors involved, but it is an important one. So let's see what we can do to improve our chances in that respect. Things to avoid. I abhor the term pure as applied to game fowl. In my 45 years experience, I never found such to exist, not genetically pure. You frequently hear reference to pure Hatch or pure Kelso or pure Marpi. I knew intimately all three of these men during their lifetime. You never once did I ever hear any one of them use the term pure when referring to his own or anyone else fowl. They might say, this is what I called my number 4 yard. I bred them together for several years along with their offspring, but they are coming small now and getting a bit fragile, so I think next year I'll put another one of my cocks in there to stiffen them up. Or Walter, send me the cock which I bred for a couple of years with good success, but never my pure number 4 yard or a pure Kelso cock. They knew that such things did not exist and never had existed either on their yard of anyone else. So many times people get a hen and a cock from a prominent breeder, a yard and thereafter refer to them as pure this, that or the other. That's crazy. The breeder himself, if he were honest, would not describe them in such terms. Just because both sides of the mating came from the same sources, that not make them pure. Far from it, chances are that the prominent breeder has a dozen or more breeding yards on his place. Probably many of them are more or less related. Some may be inbred or line-bred to a greater extent than others. But it is certainly that no two of them are the same, and not one of them is pure. So how can the fowl you get from him be pure in the genetics sense and thereby be capable of transmitting characteristics with unfailing certainty? My great objection to the word pure is the harm is thus to cocker who lean upon such erroneous term and rely upon those misnamed fowl to transmit consistently the characteristic for which the family is noted. That bad leads to all sorts of disappointment and loss of confidence. Okay, breed names. Breed names are another one of my pet peeves. People toss them around if they were talking about some stable uniform substances like salt or sugar or soda. The truth is that such name so inaccurately describe the fowl being discussed as to be practically meaningless. A bird is referred to as being a pure dot glisten white hackle or a straight Albany or an old-time Kearney. The bird may be a good one so far as that is concerned, but so far as is being what its name replied, it's dollar to dog nuts that the relationship does not exceed 10%. Here again, the harm in using such breed names is that it misleads others into thinking they can procure the same good results as you have experienced simply by using a bird bearing the same breed name. The chances are that the two birds are not 5% related. Okay, part 2.